Before we even had a country, we had an army.
They started as a small, unorganized group of shop owners and farmers, but they fought the most powerful army in the entire world to a standstill in Concord, Lexington, and Bunker Hill.
Then our Continental Congress chose George Washington as general of our Continental Army.
But it wasn't until 1 year later, on July 4th, 1776, that news arrived of the signing of our Declaration of Independence.
Now we had a new army and a new nation.
With little gunpowder, no shoes, bloody feet, few cannons, little training, and even less food.
Valley Forge started in December. They went into winter camp in December of 1777. Approximately 2,000 Americans died that winter of disease.
They lived through hell, but they never ever gave up. Not this army, not this first American army.
Finally, Washington and his army arrived, here at Yorktown, where they had General Cornwallis and his powerful British army trapped in this city against the sea.
All of the preparation that Washington has learned through the course of those 6.5 years meets its full force here at Yorktown, and he employs it brilliantly.
Sailing from the Caribbean, the French Navy arrived and took on the British fleet.
Washington decided to make his move. Our men began digging to get closer and closer to the fort, finally getting within rifle and cannon range. Naturally, George Washington chose to set off our first cannon shot.
The British had two small forts in front of the main fort. They were called Redoubts 9 and 10.
Then, on the moonless night of October 14th, the American and French forces attacked the redoubts. The hand-to-hand combat with bayonets, knives, and fists was bloody, to say the least. But within an hour, we were victorious.
And as the sun came up the next day, Cornwallis looked out and realized he was in serious trouble. So he prepared an all-out, desperate counterattack.
It didn't work, and the British were forced to surrender.
We were supposed to lose to the best army and the largest and most professional navy in the world.
But our young army had won the war and our freedom. The freedom we hold so dear. And 250 years later, for what started as a ragtag group of shop owners, has now become the most powerful army in the world.
Today, many things are very different from that army here at Yorktown, but one thing remains the same. An undying passion, guts, and love for our country remains deep in the heart of today's army. When I look into their faces, you can see it. That will never change. God bless the United States Army, and God bless the United States of America.
led today by Colonel Bruce R. Culver and Drum Major Ron Moore. Today, Pershing Zone is playing a melody entitled The Army Goes Rolling Along. This was actually written in 1908 by the then Lieutenant Edmund Louis Stentz Gruber, which was a descendant of Franz Gruber, who composed Silent Night. It was originally written to be an artillery regimental song titled KSL Rolling Along, and in 1956, the lyrics were revised by Harold Armour into the official song of the U.S. Army, and entitled The Army Goes Rolling Along. Pershing Zone carries on its centennial legacy, playing a march that brings pride to every soldier. The Army Song. The 3rd Infantry Regiment is the oldest active duty unit in the U.S. Army. Established back in 1784, the unit was dubbed the Old Guard by Major General Winfield Scott during a victory parade in Mexico City after the Mexican War. It is the U.S. Army's official ceremonial unit and presidential escort, reflecting the year-round tactical training to ensure the highest standards and utmost discipline of its soldiers. The unit routinely represents the U.S. Army and our nation in official ceremonies, sporting events, and their own, the U.S. Army's own twilight tattoo. The Old Guard also maintains 24-hour vigil. While also conducting funeral services honoring our fallen heroes in Arlington National Cemetery. The regiment's 50 campaign trooper stand is a testament to its long, faithful service to our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, the 3rd Infantry Division presents the Old Guard. The army instead guarding settlers as native scouts built the way. Immigrants joined the cause, and the Buffalo Soldiers etched a legacy of grit and honor across the American frontier. As they march by, supporting the four signals their duty, their role, and their readiness. And by the late 1850s, special regulations outlined signals of safety arms and edited function procedures. Soldiers were made to notice when ship sounded. The brass buttons of public building on the way. Well, by order said that running sack became a soldier's uniform choice. As the organization volunteer was conservative, Congress authorized support for the forces of the Black and Mountain Trees and secret law of Missouri. As we march by, representing the Civil War era of our nation's history is the 4th Infantry Division based out of Fort Carson, Colorado. From Fort Cavazos, Texas, home of legends, the 1st Cavalry Division rise to pride. Born from the wonder of the horse cavalry traditions of the Civil War, the 1st team forged its reputation on the front lines of history. Facing Ceremonial with the flying collar, charging the young Yank as the first to reach the line and faces the blue crucible by a dragon. The first of 13 Yankee campaigns in Vietnam with a medal. Today, that same warrior spirit lives on. You'll know the name, and you'll know it by the iconic cat hats, elite soldiers, and cutting-edge equipment. Tough, fit, and fearless. The 1st Cavalry Division is a lethal, disciplined force that stands ready to fight anywhere, anytime. And the legacy rides on. This is the Cat. Special thanks to our sponsor, Lockheed Martin. Representing the World War I era is the 82nd Airborne Division, based out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. You'll notice that the unit is wearing replicable World War I uniforms signifying the soldiers who served our nation during this time. When the Americans entered the Great War, our soldiers under the command of General Blackjack Griffin hit the trenches into the new standard. It was the olive drab inter-service uniform. Now on their heads you see a steel helmet with sand-textured paint built to deflect deadly shrapnel from above. Not bulletproof, but battle tough. Nicknamed the Pershing Boot, on their feet was the M1918 French boot. A boot which was designed to survive the grind of trench warfare. And on their backs, the field bag, rations, and first aid and gas masks. Everything a doughboy needed to fight and to win. Incidentally, the 42nd Infantry Division was deployed ahead of battle. Thundering into view, the pride and civil of the U.S. Army Artillery Half Section. This is literally power by horsepower and heritage. This complete ceremony leading honors the legacy of the Army's strong artillery. With precision, discipline, and 6 majestic horses holding a vintage 1918 caisson, the half section used traditional alive and rolling strong, representing power, pride, and precision of America's field artillery. This is Fort Sill's finest, ladies and gentlemen. Special thanks to our sponsor, Ford Energy. Take a look up here, ladies and gentlemen. Flying overhead right now In World War II, the Axis had a microwave. It was self-propelling aircraft with speed, firepower, and grip. Nicknamed the Mechanized, its flying mechanical capabilities, 2,300 rounds of head, quite devastating. This served to Korea, Vietnam, and beyond, and continues to be the airlines to this day. The F-16 had factories to fight wherever it goes. The U.S. Army Transportation Corps motto states, nothing happens until something moves. That was a more true FMS. Look at this, the 2.5-ton Chevrolet Dukes and a half. It can move up to 10,000 pounds of cargo and was the backbone of the Red Ball Express that kept the Allies supplied after D-Day in World War II. The Korean War, often referred to as the Forgotten, began on June 25, 1950, with the North Korean Army invading the South Korea. The coalition of South Korea and the United States and other United Nations members defeated the invasion and advanced to Korea. The coalition fought defeating Chinese offensive in the of 1951. Armistice negotiations began shortly after that defeat in July 1951, so the armistice was signed 2 years later. 1953. Combat consisted of small attacks, raids, and patrol. During this war, the United States deployed approximately 6.8 million military forces to the Korean Peninsula. Special thanks to our sponsor, Coinbase. The N-151 kept rolling along as a lightweight, high-mobility general-purpose vehicle replacing civilian World War II back in 1961. Officially named military utility tactical driver rider, most services have been referred to as a G. The vehicle spanned more than 40 years and 4 manufacturers and were everywhere that the Army was deployed. countries across still in service today to lead on the front lines of Ukraine and remains a trusted partner of our Army's arsenal.
The Army has made me see my potential, and I feel like it's molded me into a better person.
I grew up in a very patriotic household. My grandfather, he served in World War II, and his brother, my uncle, served in Vietnam. I can do this. If they can do this, I can do this.
When I was born, my dad was still serving in the military, and him coming home in his uniform, I'm like, yeah, I want to do that.
Clear for takeoff.
My motivation, I think it follows in line, I think, with what my family's done is kind of a sense of duty to serve our country and give back since it's given us so much.
I'm a very, let's say, timid person, but definitely helped me become a more confident person.
Working with a group and my peers, it really shows how much working with a team can strengthen you.
All right, ready to go? Ready to go? I derive a lot of purpose from serving others. I think serving something bigger than myself gets me out of bed every day. If you follow it up, you follow it up.
I definitely pushed myself further than I ever thought I could go.
I joined the military service because I want to deploy. That's my main goal, is deploy, deploy, deploy.
If we get the call, we have to go somewhere, we'll do what needs to be done. That's just the way we operate here.
This is one of the few jobs in the nation where we all take an oath to say, I'm willing to put my life on the line for you, and they're willing to put their life on the line for me.
This is what we train for. This is what I want to do. My team leaders and squad leaders, they know exactly what to do. Check equipment, check weapons, check ammo.
We're always ready to deploy within 18 hours and handle the mission at task. We jump so frequently so that our jump masters and the paratroopers are ready to deploy.
I'm very passionate about being a jump master. The paratroopers, they see you and, you know, they believe in you. I love to instill that confidence with my passion into those paratroopers. It's a rush. It's great.
Drop and clear for personnel drop.
This week we honor 250 years of valor and glory and triumph by the greatest fighting force ever to walk the face of the earth, the United States Army. For 2.5 centuries, our soldiers have marched into the raging fires of battle and obliterated America's enemies.
I love the Army. It is a great place to set yourself up for success, to prepare yourself for the future.
God bless you, God bless our soldiers, and God bless the U.S. Army.
The Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina, offers students the opportunity to participate in Army ROTC or the Historic Corps of Cadets. Founded in 1842, the Citadel is the third oldest received military college that is
proudly can retire the 92nd Lieutenant and is honored to shape the future leaders of the U.S. Army.
The pride to serve my country knows that I'm doing it not for myself. Every day I put on the uniform, I'm not just representing Caroline Robinson. I'm representing my company here at the Academy. I'm representing West Point. I'm representing the United States Army, and ultimately, I'm representing the United States of America.
I really came to West Point because belief in the American dream and giving back to our country.
You're a part of something that is much bigger than yourself. You're a part of a tradition of excellence and a legacy that's connected not only to the Academy, but to the American Army.
I'm surrounded by people who want to make themselves better and serve our country.
Excellence is their baseline, and that to me is what it means to be a West Point cadet.
From the earliest days of our nation, this supreme tradition of American military service has been passed down from soldier to soldier and generation to generation, and it's a beautiful thing to watch.
My brother preceded me here, and originally I didn't really know what West Point was until he came. But when I saw the mission that they were committed to, of upholding the principles of American democracy and protecting the Constitution, I knew it was somewhere I had to be.
Every time that we lived outside of the United States, I always developed this sense of gratitude and pride of being an American, and I wanted to give back to my country what it gave to me.
And it wasn't until I zipped up the blouse and I put the belt on for the first time that I realized that I was going to be serving my country, and it felt right. West Point was the place that I needed to be, and more importantly, the Army was where I wanted to be.
I just looked to the left and right over basic training and realized that we all had the same American patch on our shoulders, that we're all fighting for the same thing. I mean, there was no better feeling in the world knowing that every single person around you is committed and willing to die for that mission.
You came for excellence, you came for duty, you came to serve your country, and you came to show yourselves that you are among the smartest, toughest, strongest, most lethal warriors ever to walk on this planet.
What excites me the most about my future in the Army is the opportunity that I'm going to have to give back to the American soldiers that I'm going to be leading.
Because ultimately, they don't get to choose. And to me, it's that burden of responsibility to be the best leader.
And as a young officer, that's going to be exactly what I get to do.
I was the cadet basic training first detail for the first 3 weeks. And I got to see the new cadets come in from their families' homes and being in process on their very first day and watching them grow so quickly.
I would do all the formations, and I looked out at these 1,000 new cadets, people who had just come out of high school. They were completely different people.
I don't think there's another institution in the country like West Point where the student body is so committed to furthering the mission of America and ensuring our democracy and freedom for generations to come.
I'm really surrounded by the best of the best, and that's when I realized this is a place that I absolutely want to be.
West Point itself is an amazing institution, but it only provides opportunities. The people here have to choose to take those opportunities and grow and lead and serve. And the people here want to do that. And I'm proud to be a part of that. And I would tell any high schooler who is considering it, you won't regret it.
Left. Face. Mr. President, First Sergeant Norton reporting for duty, sir. Ready to commence the ceremony as directed.
I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations. Congratulations. Welcome to the United States Army, and have a great life. Thank you very much. Have a great life. Thank you.
Ranger School is the best life insurance policy for our Army. It will always end with two people facing off with each other, and we need young leaders to be able to close with and destroy the enemy and defend our nation's interests forward.
Surrender is not a Ranger word. It's not an option. I know that I'm not going to be able to get to do this again. This is my chance.
It all starts at the legendary Ranger School, the crucible where these elite warriors are forged. It has been described as the longest approved gut check in the Army. Over 62 days, students will patrol hundreds of miles over mountains and through swamps under the crushing weight of their equipment. All the while, they are deprived of both food and sleep, forced to perform at the very edge of their physical limits. But it's not just the physical challenges that make Ranger School so intense. The mental strain will break these soldiers down to their core.
If I have a come-to-God moment, I take my PC off my patrol cap, and on the inside of that, my commander gave me a Ranger tab, the yellow and black one that you get during graduation, and I pinned it to the inside of my PC.
Ranger School is not for the faint of heart, but for those who are up to the challenge, it is the ultimate proving ground.
They already didn't have enough beds for people in our company. And our eyes reminded us that we don't have enough beds because there's not going to be this many people by tomorrow. Just a slight reminder that there's too many of you anyways, and not all of you are going to pass.
Rangers, if you don't figure it out, you're about to get another casualty.
It's completely different than what people would think Ranger School is like, but you can't put that into words, so it's hard to tell somebody something that you have to experience for yourself.
They got a saying, it's called as the tab turns. So Ranger School is continuing to change and to develop, but at the end of the day, it is the same. Right? They're always going to put you in scenarios that is going to test with your ability to actually make decisions on the ground.
As you go through Ranger School, it is a gut check. It's going to check you out. And what's going to get you through it is whether you have it or not. Thousands and thousands of soldiers train all their lives to come here, prepare themselves to come to Ranger School, and only a few hundred leave here every class with the tab. It's not for everyone.
I'm not going to leave until I get it, so just buckle down, stop complaining, and just get the job done.
Like she knows I'm lonely. Rolls up when a wine's gone, like a record on repeat. Leaning on old memories and talking about what it used to be. She'd probably be the death of me, but damn if it ain't sweet. She's my pretty little poison, my heartache in the night with a kiss on her lips just like cyanide. Yeah, she came with a warning, but I didn't mind. I'll go out on it every time. She's my pretty little poison, my pretty little poison. Shadows dancing down the hall, whispers that she wants me. Try my best not to fall where she falls into me. We all need some kind of fix. For me, she's the one to pick. Nothing else will do the trick. She's all I need. She's my pretty little poison, my heartache in the night with a kiss on her lips just like cyanide. Yeah, she came with a warning, but I didn't mind. I'll go out on that For some, I guess it's alcohol. I don't want none of y'all. I just want you. No, I just want you. My pretty little poison. My heartache in the night with a kiss on her lips just like cyanide. Yeah, she came with a warning, but I didn't mind. I'll go hell on it every time. She's my
I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I'm nervous, but I would just like to say thank you so much for having me here tonight. I am just so fortunate to be here in front of y'all, and thank you guys so much for what you guys do, and honestly, happy birthday, y'all. Happy birthday.
This next song was loved by y'all, so if you know the words, please sing along. This song's called Ride the Lightning, y'all. Yes, she did. One foot in the flames and the other trying to walk the line. Can't say I never saw it coming, I could see the warning signs. Mama always said I was born on the wild side. I guess Mama was right, 'cause when the clock strikes midnight, gonna ride the lightning, feel the thunder till the darkness pulls me under. Gonna fly on wings of fire, breathing good, Lord lifts me high. Singing, oh, when they call me on. Singing, oh, when they call me on. Gonna ride the lightning. I see you singing, my friend. There's a man in a black coat standing at a crossroads, with a pen in his hand and a long list of lost souls. They say he flips a coin